So, good evening, everyone. Our topic is all about the Rule 12, the General Design and Construction Requirements. It is under the Building System Design course. So, I am Cristela May Antonio and I'm going to report page 196 to 201. Next is Tumama Qualterjan on page 201 to 206. Last is Vincer Christian Bernard on page 207 to 211. So next, so we have the general requirements for occupant loads and exceeds. So my topic starts in number 14, the reviewing stands, grandstands, and bleachers. So first, let us define what is a grandstand and a bleacher. So a grandstand may have basic bench setting but can also feature individual chairs, back seats. They can sometimes be seen covered with roof but are open on the front and can be multi-tiered. It usually a large roof area which is open on one side to allow viewing of some public or sport events. So while bleachers are much smaller than grandstands and are both much more basic and versatile. It is typically open to the sky and the setting consists of long planks. So A, we have the height of a stance. So stand made of combustible framing shall be limited to 11 rows or 2.70 meters in height. So ang required na height sa stand is 2.70 meters and ang required na rows is dapat mag-limit to 11 rows. So B, we have the design requirements. So the minimum unit load, live load shall be 500 kilograms per square meter of horizontal projection for the structure as a whole. So, ang minimum unit live load sa isa ka stance is 500 kilograms. So, next is the seat and footboard shall be 180 kilograms per linear meter. So, the sway force na gina-apply sa mga seats shall be 35 kilograms na per linear meter na nakaparallel sa seats and 15 kilograms per linear meter na nakaperpendicular sa seats. So ang sway forces is dili siya need i-applied simultaneously with other lateral forces. So next, we have letter C, the spacing of seats. So first, we have the row spacing. The minimum spacing of rows of seats measured from back to back shall be. So, ang pag-measure sa row spacing is from between the back of each seat and the front of the seat immediately behind it. So, we have here the for seats without backrest in an open air stance is ang required na spacing is 600 millimeters. For seats with backrest is 750 millimeters. For chair setting, we have 850 millimeters, and there shall be a space of less than 300 millimeters between from back of the seat and in the front of the seat immediately behind it. So second, we have the rise between rows. So the maximum rise from one row of seats to the next shall not exceed 400 millimeters. So ang required na rise is dapat dili siya mag-exceed to 400 millimeters. So third, we have the seating capacity. So the width of any seat shall not less than 450 millimeters nor more than 480 millimeters. So ang capacity is dapat dili siya kulang sa 400 millimeters o di siya maglapas to 480 millimeters. So fourth, we have the number of seats between aisles. It shall not be greater than 15 for open air stand with seat without backrest, a for open air stand with seats having backrest, and seat without backrest within building. 6 for seats with backrest in building. So basically, if walay backrest na naa siya sa open air stand, dapat dili siya mag-greater than 15. If naay backrest is required siya to have a 6 number of seats between aisles. So next we have the aisles. Aisles required. Aisles shall be provided in all stand, except that aisles may be omitted when all of the following condition exist. So, ang aisles is gina-required siya except kung na-fail or gina-neglect kaninga mga following condition. So, first, seats are without backrest. So, if walay backrest, if ang rise sa row to row, so dili mag-exceed to 300 millimeters per row. Tapos, ang number of rows, dili mag-exceed og 11 in height. O ang top setting board is not over 3 meters above grade. And the first setting board is not more than 500 millimeters above the grade. So next, we have the obstruction. So no obstruction shall be placed in the required width of any aisles or exitway. So we have the stairs required. When an aisle is elevated more than 200 millimeters above grade, the aisle shall be provided with a stairway or ramp whose width is not less than the width of the aisle. So, if ang aisle is mag-elevated na siya into more than 200 millimeters, so gina-required na siya, gina-required na ang stairs is butangan og stairway o mga ramps. So next is the dead end. So no vertical aisle shall be dead end more than 16 rows in depth regarding of the number of exit required. So dapat walay dead end na mag more than 16 rows regardless of number is required. So next is the width. So I shall have a minimum width of 1.10 meters. So 1.10 meters ang gina-required na width sa aisles. So next we have the stairs and ramps. So stairs are designed to reach a large vertical distance by dividing it into smaller vertical distances called steps. Stairs may be straight, round, or may consist of two or more straight pieces connected at angles. So while ramps are slope pathways used for inside and out of the buildings, used to provide access between vertical levels. Ramps provide an alternative stairs for wheelchair user, people with mobility issues, and people with prams, bicycles, and other wheeled items. So the requirement in the code shall apply to all stairs and ramps except for portion that pass through the section area. So first, we have the stairs, rise, and run. So the maximum rise of thread shall not exceed 200 millimeters, and the minimum width of run shall be 280 millimeters. The maximum variation in the width of threads in any one flight shall not be more than 5 millimeters, and the maximum variation in one height of two edges and verses shall not exceed 5 millimeters. So ang maximum rise is dapat 200 millimeters. Ang run is 280 millimeters. Tapos ang maximum variation into one flight of one height of two adjacent is 5 millimeters. So next, number 2 is ramp slope. So the slope of a ramp shall not exceed 1 in 8. Ramp shall be roughened or shall be approved of non-slip materials. So ang required na materials na gamiton is katong mga non-slippery materials o dapat rough siya para iwas harm and danger. So ang iyang slope sa ramp is dapat naka 1 in 8. So next is the handrails. A ramp with a slope exceeding in 1 in 10 shall have handrails. Stairs for stand shall have handrails. Handrails shall conform to the requirement of the code. So as for the requirement of the code, so gina-required jud na ang ramp is dapat na ay handrails. So next is the guardrails. So a guardrails is a rail enclosing the area to prevent people from falling. A guardrail is a railing that is placed along the edge of something such as staircase so that people can hold onto or so that they do not fall over the edge. So first we have guardrails shall be required in all locations where the top of the set seat plank is more than 1.20 meters above the grade. The front of stand elevated more than 600 millimeters above the grade, where only section of stands are used, guardrails shall be provided as required of the code. So as requirements of the code, so gina-required na jud ang guardrails in any location. Tapos dapat ang top of set plank naka 1.2 meters, ang stand elevated naka 600 millimeters, tapos so next is railing shall be 1.10 meters above the rear of set plank, or 1.10 meters above the rear of the steps in an aisle where the guardrail is parallel and adjacent to the aisle, except that the height may be reduced to 900 millimeters for the guardrails located in front of the grandstand. So ang railings is naka 1.10 meters above o except lang if naka 900 millimeters ang guardrails na malocate sa isa ka grandstand. So next, we have a mid-rail should be placed adjacent to any seat to limit the open distance above the top of any part of the seat to 250 millimeters for the seat is at the extreme end and the extreme rear of the bleachers or grandstand. So, ang mid-rail dapat naka 250 millimeters. So next is the intervening space shall have one additional rail midway in the opening, except that railings may be omitted with stands or placed directly against a wall or fence giving equivalent protection. Stairs and ramp shall be provided with guardrails. So, as a requirement of the code, so ang stairs and ramp dapat na ay mga guardrails, tapos dapat mag-add ta og additional rail midway sa opening, except if dool siya nabutang siya dool sa mga wall na naa siya equivalent protection. So next is the handrails at the front of stand and adjacent to the aisle shall be designed to resist a load of 75 kilograms per linear meter applied at the top rail. Other handrails shall be designed to resist a load of 40 kilograms per linear meter. So, ang handrails is dapat ang iyang load is naka 75 kilograms per linear meter, and other handrail is resist a load of 40 kilograms per linear meter. So, nagadepend sa design. So next is the footboards. So a footboard is a narrow platform on which to stand or brace the feet. So footboards shall be provided for all rows of seats above the third row or beginning at such point where the sitting plank is more than 600 millimeters above the grade. So if ang sitting plank is naka 600 millimeters above the grade, either from the third row or from the beginning of such point, so gina-required ang footboards. So next is H is the exit. So exit is a way out of an enclosed place or space. So first we have the distance to exit. So the line of travel to an exit shall not be more than 45 meters. For stand with seat without backrest, this distance may be measured by direct line from a seat to the exit from the stand. So ang distance exit is dapat siya, direct line from seat to exit from stand. Tapos ang exit dapat naka 45 meters ang iyang required distance. So next is the aisle used as exit. So an aisle may be considered as only one exit unless it is continuous on both ends to a legal building exit or to a safe dispersal area. So ang aisle pwede po siya may gamiton as exit. So next is two exit required. So stand with the first seating board not more than 500 millimeters above the grade of floor may be considered to have two exit with when the bottom of the stand is open at both ends. So every stand or section of a stand within a building shall have at least two means of egress with a stand accommodates more than 50 persons. every open air stand having seated or backrest shall have at least 2 of fees than 300 persons. So, ang gonna required na exit is if mag-accommodate siya og 50%, so dapat na ay at least 2 exit. If mag-accommodate siya og 300%, dapat ang gina-record niya is at least 2 exit. Ay nagadepende if na ay backrest or wala. So next is 3 exit required. So 3 exits shall be required for stand within a building when there are more than 300 occupants within a stand, and for open air stand with seat without backrest where a stand or section of a stand accommodates more than 1,000 occupants. So if gina-required ang 3 exit if na ay 300 occupants sa open air na walay backrest o mag-accommodate food if mag-accommodate food og more than 1,000 occupants. So next is the 4 exit required. So 4 exits shall be required with a stand or section of the stand accommodates more than 1,000 occupants, except that for an open air stand with seat with a backrest, 4 exit need to be provided unless there are accommodation of 3,000 occupants. So if walay backrest is 4 exit if na ay 1,000 occupants. Tapos if na ay 3,000 occupants na walay backrest, so gina-required po ang 4 exits. So next is the width. So the total width of exit in meters shall not be less than a total occupant load served divided by 165, except that for open air stand with seat without backrest, the total width of exit in meters shall not be less than the total occupant load served divided by 500 when existing by chairs, and dividing by 650 when exiting ramps and horizontally. When both horizontal and stairs exit are used, the total width of exit shall be determined by using both figures as applicable. No exit shall be less than 1.10 meters in width. Exits shall be located at a reasonable distance apart. When only 2 exits are provided, there shall be space not less than 1/5 of the perimeter apart. So, dapat ang exit is dili siya wala exit na less than to 1.10 meters in width. Tapos, dapat if naay siya 2 exits, dapat ang yung space is dapat dili siya less than sa 1/5 sa perimeter apart. Tapos, naga-base ang width sa occupant load na naa sa isa ka grandstand. So nagadepende siya if pila ang occupants sa isa ka place. So next is securing of chairs. So chairs and benches used on raised stands shall be secured to the platforms upon which they are placed, except that when less than 25 chairs are used upon a single raised platform, the fastening of seat to the platform may be omitted. So when more than 500 loose chairs are used in connection with athletic events, chairs shall be fastened together in groups or not less than 3 and shall be tied or stuck to the ground. So, if na ay more than 500 loose chairs na ginagamit sa isa ka event, so dapat ang chairs is dapat naka-secured. It can be grouped less than 3 na matay siya to secure the chairs. Tapos, if ima-neglect lang ni siya na requirements if mag less than 25 chairs ang gamiton sa isa ka platform. So next is the safe dispersal area. So each safe dispersal area shall have at least 2 exits. If more than 6,000 persons are to be accommodated with such an area, there shall be minimum of 2 exits. If more than 9,000, there shall be minimum of 4 exits. The aggregate clear width of the exit shape shall be determined on the basis of not less than one exit unit of 600 millimeters for each 500 persons to be accommodated, and no exit shall be 1 meters made. So, mo to siya, dapat wala exit na naka 1.9 meters lang ang width, o dapat dili mag less than 1/5 ang distance from sa iyang perimeter of the area. So, gina-record ang sa safe dispersal area is gina-record ang 2 exit. Tapos if mag 6,000 occupants, so a person, so 3 exit. If 9,000 is 4 exit. So next, we have the special hazards. So we have the boiler rooms. Except in group A occupancies, every boiler room and every room containing an incinerator or liquefied petroleum gas or liquefied fire equipment shall be provided at least 2 means of egress, one of which may be a ladder. All interior openings shall protected at well. So, ang every boiler rooms, which is naaning mga hazardous equipment, so gina-required na at least na siya 2 exits. So next is the cellulose nitrate handling. So field laboratories, projection rooms, and nitrogenous processing to shall have not less than 2 exits. So same lang if kaning room is mga prone man siya sa mga hazardous equipment, so dapat na siya 2 exit. So next, we have the section 1208, the skylights. So skylights perform a few key functions. So first, they aid warming and cooling at home. In the summer, they allow to hot air to escape. Tapos, the biggest benefit of skylights is they let natural light into your space, reducing energy costs. So all skylights shall be constructed with metal frame, except for those. You can see frames of skylights shall be designed to carry loads required for roofs. All skylights, the glass of which angle of 45 from horizontal, if located above the first story, shall be at least 100 millimeters above the roof. So curves on which the skylight brush shall be constructed in combustible material, except for the type 1 and 2 construction. So all skylights is made siya of metal frame, except katong mga occupancies na under sa group A and J. Tapos, dapat nakaset og at least 100 millimeters above the roof ang skylights. So next, spacing between supports in one direction for flat wire glass in skylights shall not exceed 625 millimeters. Corrugated wire glass may have support 150 meters above the direction of the corrugation. All glass in skylight shall be wired glass, except that the skylights over vertical shaft extend through 2 or more stories, glazed with plain glass as prescribed of the code. So, dapat ang skylight is required dapat naka-wired glass, except if mag 2 stories, so it shall be pwede siya plain glass as specified in the code. So, any glass not wired glass shall be protected above, below, and below with a screen constructed wire not smaller than 2.5 millimeters. So, if magamit o plain glass, so dapat ay magamit ka og glass na dili siya wired, so dapat ma-protect siya above and below sa iyang screen. So, dapat naka 2.5 millimeters in diameter o with a mesh not larger than 25 millimeters. So the screen shall be substantially supported below the glass. So dapat na in-required nga na siya support para dili siya So next is the skylight installed for the use of photographers may be constructed of metal frames and plate glass without wire netting. So dapat wala siya wire netting o dapat i-construct siya through metal frames and plate glass. So next is the ordinary glass may be used in the roof and skylight for greenhouses, provided that the height of the greenhouse ratio does not exceed 6 meters above the grade. So, ang mga ordinary glass pwede siya sa mga greenhouses, which is dili mag-exceed og 6 meters above the grade ang roof. So next, the use of woods in frames of skylights will be permitted in greenhouses outside of high restrictive fire zone, and if the height of the roof does not exceed 16 meters of the height, but other cases metal frames and metal sash bars shall be used. So, required na na ay mga metal frames and metal sash bars na gamiton so if gamiton nato yung mga ordinary glass. So glass used for the transmission of light is placed in floors or sidewalks shall be supported by metal or reinforced concrete frames, and such glass shall not be less than 12.5 meters in thickness. So dapat ang kapagaon sa glass na igamit sa mga sidewalks or sa floors is dapat naka 12.5 millimeters ang iyang kabagaon. And such glass over 100 square centimeters in area shall have wired mesh embedded in the same and shall be provided at the wire screen underneath the specified for skylights in the code. So all portion of the floor lights or sidewalk lights shall be the same strength as part of the floor sidewalk construction, except in cases where the floor is surrounded by a railing not less than 1.9 meters in height, in which case the construction shall be calculated for not less than roof loads. So next, we have the section 12.09, the base porches and balconies. So walls and floors in bay and area windows shall conform to the construction allowed for exterior walls and floors of the type of construction of building to which they are attached. The roof covering of a bay or area window shall conform to the requirements of the roofing on the main roof. So exterior balconies attached or to supported by wall referred to the masonry shall have brackets or beams containing reasonable material wherein shall be provided for balconies, landings, or porches which are more than 750 millimeters appropriate. So as we all know that ang balconies or mga porch is dapat na siya required na railings or landings na dapat naka 750 millimeters above the grade. So dapat ang mga balconies is naka-attach or nakasupport siya sa wall na dapat na gina-record sa mga masonry. So next is section 12.10, the penthouse and roof structures. So first we have the height. So no penthouse or other projection above the roof in structure or other than type B construction shall exceed 8.40 meters above the roof, when used as an enclosure for tanks or for elevators which run the roof, and in all of the cases shall not extend more than 3.60 meters in height with the roof. So kaning mga penthouses, so dapat dili mag-exceed og 8.40 meters ang above the roof, tapos ang run to the roof sa mga nga cases is dapat dili siya mag-extend of 3.60 meters in height with the roof. So next is the area. The aggregate area of all penthouses and other roof structures shall not exceed 1/3 of the area of the supporting roof. So dapat dili siya mag-exceed of 1/3 ang iyang area sa supporting roof sa if batag penthouses. So next is the prohibited uses. No penthouse, bulkhead, or any similar projection above the roof shall be used to perform other than shelter or mechanical equipment or shelter or vertical shaft opening the roof. A penthouse or bulkhead used for purpose other than allowed section than conform the requirements of code for additional stories. So dili ka pwede magpataka-taka o if dili ka sunod sa requirements if mag-add 4 additional story. So next, we have the construction. So roof structure shall be constructed with walls, floors, and roof as part of the main portion of the buildings except the following cases. So on type 3 and 4 construction, the exterior walls of roofs of penthouse which are 1.50 meters or more from adjacent property line may be a 1 hour fire resistive uncombustible construction. Walls not less than 1.50 meters shall from an exterior wall of type B construction may be a 1 hour fire resistive uncombustible construction. So the above restriction shall not be prohibited the placing of wood, flagpoles, or similar structure on the roof or any building. So if naatay mga ingani nga mga condition, so pwede na siya na dili na to dili required ang magtang og roof structure na naka-walls og mga floor roof requirements. So next is the tower spires. The tower and spires when enclosed shall have exterior walls as support for the building to which they are attached. Tower not enclosed and which extend more than 20 meters above the grade shall have their framework constructed with iron steel reinforcement concrete. So if ang tower is wala siya naka-enclose or naka 20 meters above the grade siya, so it shall be constructed through iron, steel, and reinforcement concrete. So next is no tower or spire shall occupy more than 1/4 of the street frontage of any building to which is attached in all case based of the requirements of the building to which is attached. So dapat ang mga tower or spire is dapat dapat dili siya mag-occupy og 1/4 sa isa ka building ang iyang area. So the roof covering of the spire shall be required for the main room of the rest of the structure. Skeleton towers used as religious mass, inside advertisement frames are placed on the roof of any village can be constructed in combustible materials when more than something in height. So dapat if butang mga tower and spires at itong gamiton is mga incombustible materials na more than 7.50 meters in height and shall be directly supported on an incombustible framework to the ground. So dapat nakasupport siya into incombustible framework sa ground. So no such skeleton tower shall be supported on roof or of combustible framing. They shall be designed to withstand a wind load from any direction in addition to other lateral loads. So that's all. Next supporter.
So, section 1211, which is the chimneys, fireplaces, and barbecues. So, chimneys, first is the structural design. So, chimneys shall be designed, anchored, supported, reinforced, constructed, and installed in accordance with generally accepted principles of engineering. So, ingon dere is ang chimneys daw is gi-design or i-construct with accordance daw sa principles sa engineering din. Then of course, every chimneys daw is dapat walay naga-include or wala siya naga-support og loads except sa iyang self-weight. The next is kaning walls. So every masonry chimney shall have walls of masonry units, bricks, stones, listed masonry chimneys units, reinforced concrete or equivalent solid thickness of hollow masonry, and lined with suitable liners in accordance with the following requirements. So first is kaning masonry chimneys for residential type appliances. So ingon diri, so masonry chimneys shall be constructed of masonry units or reinforced concrete with walls not less than 100 millimeters thick or of rubble stone masonry not less than 300 millimeters thick. So ingon diri is ang masonry chimneys daw for residential type is dapat dili mag less than 100 mm thick ang wall or ang rubble stone is dili sad less than 300 mm ang thick niya. Tapos kaning For low heat appliances is masonry masonry chimneys shall be constructed of masonry units or reinforced concrete with walls not less than 200 millimeters thick, except that rubble stone masonry shall be not less than 300 millimeters thick. Then ang chimney liner shall be in accordance with the code. The next is kaning for medium heat appliances. So for medium heat appliances shall be constructed of solid masonry units of reinforced concrete not less than 200 millimeters thick, except that stone masonry shall be not less than 300 millimeters thick, and in addition shall be lined with less than 100 millimeters of fire break laid in a solid bed of fire clay mortar with solidly filled head, bed, and wall joints starting not less than 600 millimeters below the chimney connector in trans. Then chimney extending 7.50 meters or less above the chimney connector shall be lined to the top. So for high heat appliances shall be constructed with double walls of solid masonry units or reinforced concrete not less than 200 millimeters daw ang thickness. Then with an airspace of not less than 50 meters between wall. So the inside of the interior wall shall be of fire break not less than 100 millimeters in thickness, laid in a solid bed of fire clay mortar with solidly filled head, bed, and wall joints. So masonry chimneys for incinerator installed in multi-story building, just like kaning apartment type incinerators. So chimney for incinerator installed in multi-story building using the chimney passageway as a refuse chute where the horizontal grate area of combustion chamber does not exceed of 0.80 square meter. Then shall have walls of solid masonry or reinforced concrete is dili pud siya less than 100 millimeters with a chimney lining as specified in the code. So if ang grate area of such an incinerator exceed of 0.80 square meter, ang walls daw is dapat dili siya mag less than 100 millimeters ang fire break, except daw if higher than 9 meters above the roof of the combustion chamber. Common break alone 200 millimeters in thickness may be used. So for commercial and industrial type incinerators, so for commercial and industrial type incinerators of size designed for not more than 110 kilograms of refuse per hour and having a horizontal grate area not exceeding of 0.50 square meter and shall have walls of solid masonry or reinforced concrete na dili less than 100 millimeters thick with lining of not less than 100 millimeters of fire break, which ang lining shall extend for not less than 12 meters above the roof of the combustion chamber. So if ang design capacity of grate area of such an incinerator is nag-exceed of 110 kilograms per hour and 0.8 and 0.80 square meter respectively, ang walls shall be not less than 200 millimeters thick, lined with not less than 100 millimeters of fabric extending the wall of height the height of the chimney. So for C is the lining. So fire clay chimney lining shall be less than 15 millimeters thick, the lining shall extend from 200 millimeters below the lowest inlet, or in the case of fireplace, from the throat of the fireplace to a point above enclosing masonry walls. Ang fire clay chimney lining shall be installed ahead of the construction of the chimney as it is carried up, carefully bedded one on the other in fire clay mortar with close-fitting joints left smooth on the inside. So fire break not less than 500 millimeters thick may be used in place of fire clay chimney. So D is for the area. So no chimney passageway shall be smaller in area than the vent connection of the appliances attached thereto. So meaning is ang wall daw is dili mag less than og 200 mm thick. Then I mean, so ang chimneys dapat dili siya gamay compared sa vent connection sa mga appliances. Then ang E is height. So every masonry chimney shall extend at least 600 millimeters above the part of the roof through which it passes, and at least 600 millimeters above the highest elevation of any part of the building within 3 meters to the chimney. So masonry chimney is dapat extended or above 600 millimeter sa part sa mga roof which is passes sa pinaka-highest elevation sa building within 3 meters. So F is core billing. So no mason, so mo ni ang core billing kaning nasa picture. So no masonry chimney shall be corbelled from a wall more than 150 millimeters, nor shall a masonry chimney be corbelled from a wall which is less than 300 millimeters in thickness unless it projects equally on each side of the wall. In the second story of a two-story building of Group A occupancy, corbelling is of masonry chimney on the exterior of the enclosing walls may equal the wall's thickness. So in every case, the corbelling shall not exceed 25 millimeters projection for each course of break. So there is G, change in size or shape. So ang ginaingon dere is within the distance of 150 mm daw above or below sa roof joints, dili daw ka pwede mag-change og size or shape sa chimneys. Then sa H is for separation is when more than one passageway is contained in the same chimney, masonry separation at least 100 millimeters thick banded into the masonry wall of the chimney shall be provided to separate passageway. So if duha ka passageway ang nasa isa ka chimney, or I mean duha ka kanang agianan bitaw, is required butangan og separation wall na at least 100 mm. Then for inlets is every inlet to any masonry chimney shall enter the side thereof and shall be not less than 3 millimeters thick metal or 16 millimeters refractory material. Then next is for clearance. So ang ginaingon diri sa clearance is ang combustible materials daw is dapat dili naka-place within 50 millimeter sa smoke chamber, or if outside structure na built-in ang chimneys dapat within 25 mm. So K is for termination. So all incinerator chimneys shall terminate in a substantially constructed spark arrestor having a mesh not exceeding 20 millimeters. So mao ni siya ang incinerator chimney kaning sa picture. Then for clean outs, which is kani, so ang clean out openings shall be provided at the base of every masonry chimney. So diri na ta sa fireplaces and barbecues. So fireplaces, barbecues, smoke chambers, and fireplace chimneys shall be of solid masonry or reinforced concrete and shall conform to the minimum requirements specified in the code. So A is for fireplace walls. So, walls of fireplaces shall not be less than 200 millimeters in thickness. Walls of fireboxes shall not be less than 250 millimeters in thickness, except that where a lining of firebreak is used, such walls shall not be less than 200 millimeters in thickness. So the firebox shall not be less than 500 millimeters in depth, and the maximum thickness of joints in firebreak shall be 10 millimeters. Then B is for hood. So metal hoods used as part of fireplace or barbecue shall be not less than number 18 gauge copper, galvanized iron, or other equivalent corrosion-resistant ferrous metal with all seams and connections of smoke-proof unsoldered construction. Then the hoods shall be slope at angle of 45 degree or less from the vertical and shall extend horizontally at least 150 millimeters beyond the limits of the firebox. Metal hoods shall be kept a minimum of 400 millimeters from combustible materials. So C is for the circulators. So circulators should be approved metal heat circulators may be installed in fireplaces. And next is kaning smoke chamber. So front and side walls shall not be less than 200 millimeters in thickness. Smoke chamber back walls shall not be less than 150 millimeters in thickness. So next is the fireplace chimneys. So walls of chimneys without the flow lining shall not be less than 200 millimeters in thickness. Walls of chimneys with flow lining shall not be less than 100 millimeters in thickness and shall be constructed in accordance with the requirements of the code. Then F is for the clearance of combustible materials. So combustible materials shall not be placed within 50 millimeters or of fireplace, smoke chamber, or chimney walls when built entirely within a structure, or within 25 millimeters when the chimney is built entirely outside the structure. So combustible materials shall be placed within 150 millimeters sa fireplace opening. So no such combustible material within 300 millimeters of the fireplace opening shall project more than 3 millimeters of each 25 millimeters clearance from such opening. So no part of metal hoods used as part of fireplace, barbecue, or heating stoves shall be less than 400 millimeters from combustible material. So this clearance may be reduced to the minimum requirements set forth in the code. So next is the area of flows, troughs, and dampers. So the net cross-sectional area of the flow and of the trough between the firebox and The smoke chamber of fireplace shall not be less than the requirements to be set forth by the secretary. So when dampers are used, they shall be of not less than number 12 gauge metal. Then when fully opened, ang damper opening shall be not less than 90% of the required flow area. Then when fully open, damper blades shall not extend beyond the line of the inner piece of the face of the flue. So, ingon diri ang area of flows o ang throat daw sa firebox o ang smoke chamber is dili daw dapat mag-ubos or gamay sa kanang gina-require daw sa secretary. Thus, H is the lintel. So masonry over the fireplace opening shall be supported by a non-combustible lintel. Then I is for the heart. So every fireplace shall be provided with a brick, concrete, stone, or other approved non-combustible heart slab at least 300 millimeters wider on each side than the fireplace opening and projecting at least 450 millimeters therefrom. This slab shall not be less than 100 millimeters thick and shall be supported by a non-combustible material or reinforced to carry its own weight and all in imposed loads. So section 12:12, fire extinguishing system. So unsa ning fire extinguishing system? So fire extinguishing system is installed to quickly detect a fire, alert occupants, extinguish fire before extensive damage occur. So when required, standard automatic uh, fire extinguishing system shall be installed in the following places and in the manner provided in the code. First is A. First is in every story, basement or cellar with area of 200 square meters or more which is used for habitation, recreation, dining, study, or work, and which has an occupied load of more than 20 occupants or 20 persons. So B is for in all dressing rooms, rehearsal rooms, workshops, or factories and other rooms with an occupant load of more than 10 or assembly halls under group H and I occupancies with occupant load of more than 500. And if the next doors of said rooms are more than 30 meters from the nearest safe fire dispersal area of the building or opening to an exit court of street. Then C is in all rooms used for storage or handling or of photographic, X-ray, cellulose films, and other inflammable articles. So dry standpipes. So every building 4 or more stories in height shall be equipped with 1 or more dry standpipes. Then so A is the construction and test. So dry standpipes shall be of wrought iron or galvanized steel and together with fittings and connections shall be of sufficient strength to withstand 20 kilograms per square centimeter of water pressure when ready for service. So without leaking at the joints, valves, or fittings, tests shall be conducted by the owner or the building contractor in the presence of representative of the building official whenever deemed necessary for the purpose of certification of its proper function. So B is for the size. So dry standpipes shall be of size as to be capable of delivering 900 liters of water per minute from each of any three outlets simultaneously under the pressure created by one fire engine or pumper based on the standard equipment available. Then C is the number required. So every building 4 or more stories in height where the area of any floor above the third floor is 950 square meters or less shall be equipped with at least one dry and standpipe and an additional standpipe shall be installed for each additional 950 square meter or fraction thereof. Then this for location. So standpipe shall be located within enclosed stairway landings or near such stairways as possible or immediately inside of an exterior wall and within 300 millimeters of an opening in a stairways enclosure of the balcony or vestibule of smoke-proof tower or an outside exit stairway. So E is for the chamise connection, subject to the provision of subparagraph B. In all 100 millimeters dry standpipes shall be equipped with a two-way chamise fire department connection. All 125 millimeters dry standpipes shall be equipped with a three-way chamise fire department connection, and 150 millimeters dry standpipe shall be equipped with four-way chamise fire department connections. So F is for outlets. So for outlets is all dry standpipes shall extend from the ground floor to and over the roof and shall be equipped with a 63 millimeters outlet nor more than 1.2 meters above the floor level at each story. All dry standpipes shall be equipped with a two-way 63 millimeters outlet above the roof. So all outlets shall be equipped with gate valves. Then G is for the signs. So an iron or bronze sign with raised letters at least 25 millimeters height shall be rigidly attached to the building adjacent to all chamise connection on such sign shall read connection to dry standpipe.
Wet standpipes. Every group H and I occupancy of any height, and every group C occupancy of 2 more stories in height, and every group D, E, F, and G occupancy of 3 or more stories in height, and every group G and E occupancy over 1,800 square meters in area shall be equipped with one or more interior wet standpipes extending from cellar or basement into the topmost story, provided that Group H buildings have no stage and having a seating capacity of less than 500 need not to be equipped with interior wet standpipes. Next is the construction. Interior wet standpipes shall be constructed of the same materials as those required for dry standpipes. Next, size. Interior wet standpipe shall have an internal diameter sufficient to deliver 190 liters of water per minute under 200 kilograms per square centimeter pressure at the host connection. Any approved formula which determines pipe sizes on a pressure drop basis may be used to determine pipe size for wet standpipe system. Next, number required. The number required for wet standpipes when required in the code shall be so determined that all portions of the building are within 6 meters of a nozzle attached to a hose 23 meters in length. Next, location. In group H and I occupancies, outlets shall be located as follows. One on each side of the stage, one at the rear of the stage auditorium, and one at the rear of the balcony. Where occupant loads are less than 500, the above requirements may be waived, provided that portable fire extinguishers of appropriate capacity and type are installed within easy access from the said locations. Next is the outlets. All interior wet standpipes shall be equipped with a 38 mm valve in each story, including the basement of cellar or the building, and located not less than 300 millimeters nor more than 1.2 meters above the floor. Next is the threads. All those threads used in connection with the installation of such standpipes, including valves and reducing fittings, shall be uniform with that prescribed by the Secretary. Next is the water supply. All interior wet standpipes shall be connected to a straight main not less than 100 millimeters in diameter, or when the water pressure is insufficient, to a water tank of sufficient size as provided in subparagraph. When more than one interior wet standpipe is required in the building, such standpipes shall be connected at their bases or at their tops by pipes of equal size. Next is the pressure and gravity tanks. Tanks shall have a capacity sufficient to furnish at least 1,500 liters per minute for a period of not less than 10 minutes. These tanks shall be located so as to provide not less than 2 kilograms per square centimeter pressure at the topmost based outlet for its entire supply. Next, fire pumps. Fire pumps shall have a capacity of not less than 1,000 liters per minute with a pressure of less than 2 kilograms per square centimeter at the topmost hose outlet. The source of supply for such pumps shall be a straight water main of not less than 100 millimeters diameter, or a well or cistern containing a 1-hour supply. Next is the hose or hose and hose reel. Each hose outlet of all interior wet standpipes shall be supplied with a hose not less than 38 millimeters in diameter. Such hose shall be equipped with a suitable brass or bronze nozzle shall be not over 23 meters in length. Next is the basement pipe inlets. Basement pipe inlets shall be installed in the first floor of every store, warehouse, or factory where there are cellars or basement under same, except where in such cellars or basements there is installed a fire extinguishing system as specified in the code, or where such cellars or basements are used for banking purposes, safe deposit vaults, or similar uses. Next is material. Approval. Next is approval. All fire extinguishing systems, including automatic sprinklers, wet and dry standpipes, automatic chemical extinguishers, basement pipe inlets, and the appurtenances thereof shall meet the approval of the fire department as to installation and location, and shall be subject to such periodic test as it may require. Next, Section 1213, Stages and Platform. Stage ventilators. There shall be one or more ventilators constructed of metal or other incombustible material near the center and above the highest part of any working stage raised above the stage roof, and having a total ventilation area equal to at least 5% of the floor area within the stage walls. The entire equipment shall conform to the following requirements. Pause. Stage ventilators. There shall be one or more ventilators constructed of metal or other incombustible material near the center and above the highest part of any working stage, raised above the stage roof and having a total ventilation area equal to at least 5% of the floor area within the stage walls. The entire equipment shall conform to the following requirements. Next is the opening action. Ventilators shall open by spring action or force of gravity sufficient to overcome the effects of neglect, rust, dirt, or expansion by heat or warping of the framework. Next, glass. Glass, if used in ventilators, must be protected against falling on the stage. A wire screen, if used under the glass, must be so placed that if clogged, it cannot reduce the required ventilating area or interfere with the operating mechanism or obstruct the distribution of water from the automatic fire extinguishing systems. Next, design. Ventilators, penthouses, and supporting framework shall be designed in accordance with the code. Next, spring actuation. Springs, when employed to actuate ventilator doors, shall be capable of maintaining full required tension indefinitely. Next, location of fusible links. A fusible link shall be placed in the cable control system on the underside of the ventilator at or above the roof line or as approved by the building official. Next, control. Remote, manual, or electrical control shall provide for both opening and closing of the ventilator doors for periodic testing and shall be located at a point on the stage designated by the building official. Next, gridirons, fly galleries, and pin rails shall be constructed of incombustible materials and fire protection of steel and iron may be omitted. Gridirons and fly galleries shall be designed to support a live load of not less than 367 kilograms per square meter. Next, rooms accessory to stage. In a building having a stage, the dressing room sections, workshops, and storerooms shall be located on the stage side of the proscenium wall and shall be separated from each other and from the stage by not less than a 1 hour fire-resistive occupancy separation. Next, proscenium walls. A stage shall be completely separated from the auditorium by a proscenium wall of not less than 2 hour incombustible construction. Next, stage floor. The type of construction for stage floors shall depend upon the requirements based on the type of occupancy and the corresponding fire resistive requirements. Next, platforms. The type of construction for platforms shall depend upon the requirements based on the type of occupancy and corresponding fire resistive requirements. Next, stage exits. At least one exit, not less than 900 millimeters wide, shall be provided from each side of the stage, opening directly or by means of a passageway not less than 900 millimeters in width to a street or exit court. Next, section 1214, motion picture projection rooms. General requirements. The provisions of this section shall apply only where ribbon-type motion picture films in excess of 22 millimeters width and electric projection equipment are used. Next, Construction. Every projection room shall be of not less than 1 hour fire-resistant construction throughout, and the walls and ceiling shall be finished with incombustible materials. Next, exit. Uh, Ports and openings. Ports in projection room walls shall be of three kinds: projection ports, observation ports, and combination ports used for both observation and for stereopticon, spot, or floodlight machines. Next, ventilation. Inlet. A fresh air inlet from the exterior of the building not less than 900 square centimeters and protected with wire netting shall be installed within 50 millimeters of the floor in every projection room, the source of which shall be remote from other outside vents or flues. Next, regulation of equipment. All shelves, fixtures, and fixed equipment in a projection room shall be constructed of incombustible materials. All films not in actual use shall be stored in metal cabinets having individual compartments for reels or shall be in generally accepted shipping containers. No solder shall be used in the construction of such cabinets. Okay, that's all. Thank you.